Mother, Father God, Divine Creator, thank you very much for all that has been given to us, to all the gifts we receive every day, and we don't count for those. We only count sometimes for our problems. But let us be aware that whatever is in our path is with intention of good, is with intention of lifting us. And if it's hard right now, it's because there's work to be done. Let us be aware that your presence in our lives is unavoidable, because your life sustains our life, making us one family in God, in creation. And with that in mind, we humbly ask permission to our mentors and guides to open our Sunday meeting this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, thank you. Okay, so chapter 14 of the Gospel according to Spiritism is what came for us today. And chapter 14 is the one that talks about parental devotion. Is when we take care of our parents, and it starts like that. So it discusses family, right? It discusses, family relationships with the eyes of the Spirit, right? Did you guys notice one thing about? It's funny to talk about this. We all have a concept of family, right? Family is my parents, my children, my siblings, right? And you might have a big family or a small family, right? Families are shrinking lately, right? So big families are not something unless you move to Utah, right? So we don't see a lot of big families anymore, right? And the worst thing is, economically speaking, the more wealthy a family becomes, the less kids they have. This is a fact of nature, right? And but our notion of family is that, right? So siblings, right? So our parents, our kids, right? And sometimes our partners, right? But that might change, right? But from our perspective, we even when we talk about spirituality, things get a little bit more complicated, right? Because we have reincarnation. Because we talk about a spirit that never dies. We talk about a life that never ends. And we talk about multiple lives, right? And multiple lives complicate things a bit, right? Don't they complicate things a bit? Because if this is true, right, and we have had many lives, did we have the same parents every single life since we started? Did we have the same children since we started? Same siblings? And the answer is chances are no. Chances are no. Right? So what we think as family right now, which is this small group of people, right? My siblings, my parents, my kids, might expand a little bit. What if I tell you had different parents past life? Your parents are not the same as the one you have right now. You just don't remember. Right? What if for a moment you could remember that? How that would change you? What if it was good? What if you had a great relationship with your parents in a past life? How would you feel if you could grasp that memory? Have you ever thought about that? It's an interesting thought, right? What if your kids were different? What if you already had kids? And what if some of the relationships were very constructive? Maybe others not necessarily so much. What if you could remember now the kids you had a past life? Interesting, right? What if your siblings were different? What if you had good relationship with siblings in a past life, but they're maybe not so good sometimes? So when we talk about family in the scope of spirituality, things change a bit. Because our family may be slightly bigger than we think. Our family may be more encompassing than we think. And they might have a bigger impact in our life than we think. Because those relationships, especially those that are built in love, right? Once we achieve that, we know we don't lose them. I'm going to tell you, there's a lot we know about some famous personalities in Spiritism. So we have the case of Chico Xavier, which many of you have heard. I hope most of you have heard about him. So it's one of the greatest mediums we have in this century, right? Published more than 400 books, right? For what we know, I don't know how much of this is, I think it's public information, but might not be though. Everybody knows his mentor is Emmanuel, right? There's many books psychographed by Emmanuel, right? And he's the mentor of Chico Xavier, which is, we know, it's a very incredible, it's like a parental relationship from a spirit that's actually more evolved. What many people don't know is that apparently Emmanuel was the parent of Chico Xavier, but many, many lives ago. At least once, we know at least one life. Some people say that in the book 2,000 years ago, or the 50 years later, I forgot which one. So the character that describes the life of Emmanuel at that time has a daughter, and the daughter, they say, was Chico Xavier. So 2,000 years ago, that went on, right? And then let me ask you, did we have parents 2,000 years ago? Were we alive 2,000 years ago? We were. And we incarnated, so we had parents. Who was our parent 2,000 years ago? Isn't it interesting? Right now we don't know. And why we don't know? And that's one of the main criticisms we have sometimes with reincarnation is why we don't remember. Anisio, so if this thing is true about Spiritism, shouldn't we remember that? Shouldn't we remember our parents 2,000 years ago? Right? Shouldn't we remember? It wouldn't be better for us if we remember everything. Right? Here's the problemo. Right? Here's the problem. How do you know the relationships were constructive? So if you look back, one of the major problems we have in life right now is trauma. I don't know about you. You probably have traumas you have been working on. Experiences during your life, during this life, I'm not talking about past life, this life, that happened to you that probably were not the best, right? And what happened with those traumas? They stay with us. Did that ever happen to you guys? I don't know if I'm crazy, but sometimes I'm thinking about the past, like things that happened to me when I was a teenager, or I don't know, was much younger. And I reanalyze the situation and I reach a different conclusion I didn't have at the time. Oh my goodness, this is what they meant. Like I understood my parents, my grandparents, sometimes years. Now I have to look back to what they did 40 years ago, and now I re-understand what happened, right? And I'm pretty sure you have situations that happened to you that were not good, that you didn't feel good, you don't feel. I still have things I have things I said to people that now annoy me because I feel bad for what I said 30 years ago, because now I understand with different eyes, right? And if you are a typical human being, you have this consciousness. Some people don't. So there are people that are still not awakened for the past, right? And they simply pass through. They're not working on that yet, right? But that's fine. It's their condition at this moment. But eventually they will. Because eventually we're going to be more and more aware. The more evolved we become, the more capable we are of dealing with our past, right? So right now, the vast majority of us, we cannot deal with anything beyond this life. Because the traumas of past lives probably would overwhelm us right now. Would make us, put us in a condition of suffering now that we don't need. Because we are restarting. We're having a new, fresh start. But those people are around. And maybe this is one of the most amazing things that Spiritism tells us. You have to be very, that's why compassion and love to others. Many of the people that will come to our life as part of our life, on the ongoing experiences we're going to have, you will bump, most likely, in people from the past. Can you imagine if someone comes to your life like the boyfriend of your daughter comes to your life? Who's the boyfriend of my daughter? Nothing to do with my family, right? Not my family. It's not my parent, not my siblings. It's the boyfriend of my daughter, right? What if the boyfriend of your daughter was your son in the past life? It can't be, right? Because the boyfriend of my daughter is just dad. It's not someone that can be. What if? Okay, let me go a little deeper. What if the boyfriend of your daughter was your parent past life? Was a loving parent, and is there to actually fix your life? And there's a joke that people talk about. I think it was they were telling a story about Chico Xavier. Maísa, have you heard about Maísa? Maísa, she is a great speaker, right? So she has a lot of videos on YouTube, and she had spent a lot of time with Chico Xavier. So she's one of the best people to tell stories about Chico Xavier. Because some people talk about Chico Xavier as if Xavier was a saint and his grandiosity, and I think that's listen to what Chico was talking, right? He was one of the greatest thing about Chico Xavier was humility. And now some people talk about Chico Xavier as if he was like a saint or some sort of entity. But Maísa is pretty good, and she tells the stories like with the simplicity. And then Chico was talking about reincarnation and talking about the suffering that we go through, sometimes receiving people that we don't have problems in the past in our family. Right? Sometimes the people we receive as children or as they are the problematic ones. They are the relationships we have to amend, to fix, right? And this gentleman came to talk to Chico. Chico, I heard about your reincarnation thing and so on. This is all nonsense. My family, I love my wife. I have 4 boys. We all get along together. We are so tight. We're so neat. We're so connected. We're good. This is silly, what you're saying. And he was so happy. And Chico said, oh, so good, my friend. I'm so happy for you that your family is so good and everything is so fine to you. And he laughed. And then, I don't know which spirit came to Chico Xavier. One of them, I don't know if it's May, and came to Chico and said, Chico, pray for him, right? Because he has no idea of the daughters-in-law that are coming for him. He has no idea of the daughters-in-law that are coming for him, right? Because they're going to be where they're going to be working as a family, right? And that's the point. If we are here on earth, we have something to do. There's 100% chance that we have relationships to mend because we were not loving beings all this time. Even if you're very optimistic about your life right now, even if you think you're a loving being right now, well, hopefully you are. I'm not, right? Certainly you were not loving all this time. So in a bunch of relationships we have, we're not based in love. And if you're a typical person, a bunch of relationships were very destructive in the past. We were abused, and we took advantage, and we didn't love, So here it is. This is the theater where things are fixed, right? So we are now in the flesh, not for a voyage, not for, having just a good time. We can have good times too, but we are here fundamentally to grow spiritually, fixing, amending, and reconnecting with people that might not have been the case in the past. That's family, what family is all about, right? If you think about the families that were designed by us for this life with the intention of getting us in a better spot in the future. Hopefully we'll take this opportunity. Hopefully we'll learn from it. And if we don't, we'll come again. I used to make this joke with my mom. My mom had a little problem with my grandpa. And I was Spiritism already. I was a teenager. I was already reading the books. And she would be mad with me. She would complain about my grandpa, and I would tell her, Mom, you have to let go. The book says if you don't, you have to come back again. And she would be mad with me. No way, it's not going to happen. We're not going to come back with your grandpa. And the problem is, yes, we do. We have to amend this thing. We have to do the best. It doesn't mean we don't have to fix anyone. It's not our job to fix anyone. We're not here to fix anybody else. But we're here to do our part. Right? We can fix people. They are the ones that will fix themselves. But I'm here to do my best. To do my best for that individual. To do my best. If I do my best, that's all it's asked of me. Right? The results of the progress of other people, it's their choice, not mine. With that in mind, okay, let's move on to our